Revelation?
Yes.
I think we could possibly save considerable time if we went to agenda item number 12 before agenda item number 11.
Is there any objection to moving the agenda item number 12 ahead of 11? Remind me to come back to 11. Agenda item number 12, consider and take action to declare an emergency to reduce the 2013-2014 budget and clarify the action taken on July 10, 2014 regarding budget reduction number 2. Commissioner Sammy Stone.
Judge, there seems to be confusion and misunderstanding with the motion that was made last Thursday. So taking that in consideration, I would like to make a motion, and I move the Commissioners Court declare an emergency to the financial crisis in Bowie County budget and to amend and clarify the July 10th, 2014 motion to reduce employees' salary by 15% and to replace the language to read, quote, reduce department employee salary budgets by 15% effective August 1, 2014, and this motion is made for reduction for county purposes.
Say, read that one, reduction of department, what was the next word?
Reduce department employee salary budgets by 15% effective August 1. Department employee salary, not each individual employee.
So one thing you're changing is what we talked about last Thursday was going to take effect in July 31st.
Move that date to August 1st.
Okay, so you're changing one pay period.
Which will be effective on the 15th payroll.
And then what was the other major change that you're making there?
We're going from individual employees to department salary budget reductions. I think that was where most people understood the original motion, that it was individual employees. It is not. It was department salary reduction. And to add a little bit to that,
Go ahead and speak.
the commissioners out here will definitely step in and do their part in this reduction. We're not going to sit here and do nothing. The employees have to suffer. We're going to, like Mike Carter said last Thursday, if we're going to bleed, we're all going to bleed together. And that will be addressed with an upcoming Commissioners Court.
This is just for the remainder of this year. This is just for the remainder of this budget year, right? For the new budget year.
You need to speak to that.
I said, is this for just the remainder of this budget year?
No, this will be in effect from now through the next budget year.
Carol, can we do that?
I think your motion is for this budget year. And then you're going to, if this is what you're going to continue to do in the next budget year, then you will address that at your budget hearing time. And because you may be even reducing elected officials' salaries at the budget hearing time, and then there's some things that kick in regarding notices that have to be sent out. So this is really only for this August.
2.5 months.
Yes, you're 2.5 months.
In this case, it's two.
I think it's actually 2 months.
Actually, 2 months, yes.
August and
Yes,
September.
this would be representing 2 months.
So you understand that you cannot make this effective in the next budget year, only this budget year.
Right.
Now,
I stand corrected by legal counsel.
yes, we all do from time to time. Are there any exceptions to any of the departments?
I got a letter this morning from a department that said that we didn't have any control over the employees, so do we need to exclude them or what?
Well, I'm asking, did you intend to exclude any departments?
Originally, I had not, but I am not sure of what all our legal bounds are, because I know I got a form like you have from the district judge, which says that we cannot make a reduction in his department. If that be the case, then that would be an exception. But I can't say that because I do not know.
Should we amend this, or should you amend your motion to the employees that we have control of? Should that be changed, Carol?
What the law says is that the Commissioners Court has control over how the money is spent. So it's not being controlled over employees. You have no control over except those employees that are in your precinct. And as I understood Commissioner Stone's motion, it is to those department heads, which includes elected officials, and then they can determine how they're going to reduce their salaries within their department by 15%. That you do have control over. I have not seen the letter. I was not given the letter. It was sitting up there, but I hadn't had a chance to read it. I've had some conversations with the district judges, and I do understand that their position is those positions in which they issued orders. You know, they by law, they have to issue orders on certain positions, and they have done that way back. They do it at budget time. Those are district judges' orders, and I'm not gonna go against 3 district judges. So, I would think, but they have other positions within their department that are being funded by this court that are not by court order. So, that would be to their discretion as to how they would do that. Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
His motion would be fine.
Yes.
If a department is required to cut 15% from their total salaries, you're talking about salaries and benefits?
Well, if you cut the salaries, the benefits are gonna take care of themselves.
And we discussed Thursday our inability as a court to, although we're willing to give up our 15% of our employees are having to, but we were unable, by motion of this court, to reduce the elected official's salary by 15% at this point in the budget year.
That's true. But as I said earlier, that will be addressed at our next commissioners meeting.
Well, just trying to make today's motion as accurate as possible. Are you including the total salary, including the officer, if he's an elected officer of that department?
Department employees, which clarifies it as employees, not department heads.
Very good.
Once again, I remind the court, by law, you cannot reduce elected officials' salaries during a budget year. They can only be adjusted at budget time, and then there are very specific ways in which you have to give notice and to do those things.
The motion has been read into the record. It's made by Commissioner Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Blackburn. Any further discussion? Poll the members of the court. Commissioner Stone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Carter?
Yes.
Judge votes no. Commissioner Britton?
Yes.
Commissioner Blackburn?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1. We'll go back to agenda item number 11. We want to hear from any of our department heads. This is the way it's on the agenda. On a request by department heads to address additional budget cuts in their respective departments. We say additional because on March the 24th, a large amount of budget cuts were made already. I have two in writing that came in ahead, and then we'll ask the department heads to come to the podium. I would ask you to hold the microphone so everybody can hear you. And there could be, since these folks did not have the benefit of the action we just took, there could be something in their statement that has been answered already, but let me read them without editorial. This is from Justice of the Peace Nancy Talley. In reference to the 15% salary cut, I'm requesting some form of statement in writing from the court so I can inform my staff of imminent changes that will affect it. All we have to go by is an article in the newspaper. Employees of Bowie County deserve more than an article, a news brief on television, or rumors that are floating around. To leave them in the dark is truly cruel. Even though these employees were not the cause of the loss of the revenue of Bowie County, they are being punished for whatever reasons of this shortfall. Since they have no one to speak for them, I will take on that task on my own. I have worked for Bowie County for 21 years and witnessed many changes that either benefited the county or has not made any improvement at all. Some things in life are destined to be wait and see what happens. Some departments have increased personnel with larger salaries than the employees that have been here for years. Some departments, new jobs are created in hopes of bringing larger cities' ethics and ways of maintaining their growth and crime. Some jobs are just created for reasons that do not bring any value to the county, but are done out of political interests. Sad, but it happens. It baffles me about what is really happening here. I actually blame myself for that mystery because I have settled into doing what I was elected to do and not watch what's happening in the way the county was headed. I really didn't feel the need to because I totally trusted the internal operations of the county, but that trust has fallen by the wayside. The Commissioners Court has put me in the position of helping to solve a problem by most likely losing an employee who has done nothing but come to work daily with the intent of complete work to the best of their ability without causing any problems. That person dedicated themselves to Bowie County tenaciously. The remaining employees will have to step up their workload in order to keep up with what is required from the public, state, and county. I don't begin to know how all the different offices are operated, but I do know mine, and I'm not alone. There are other elected officials who have always continued to operate their offices with integrity and hard work. No one asked for my help when this mess began, but chose to seek counsel from other people. It's cost the taxpayers over and over again. I've heard through the grapevine we borrowed $5 million and are now trying to garner another $2 million from salaries. Then again, there's still a question of the $3 million somewhere. What is true? Why were the department heads not called initially for a meeting to discuss the problem before it got to this point? Why wasn't our help needed then instead of just now? When the dust settles, the county will have lost very good employees, increase the workload on some who will pay the price, and put some employees past the poverty level and raise our taxes. The whole scenario is rather hard to swallow. The purpose of this letter is not to be critical, but to make a point. The hard plight is understood by many, but the pressure is not on your shoulders alone. You brought company with you on this rocky journey. You are not the ones looking into the eyes of those who are fixing to have a life-changing experience. Don't forget, you're not only touching them, you've reached out to their spouses, children, grandchildren, and countless families who will now have to help them survive. Things change, life will go on, but hurtful memories are forever. Sincerely, Nancy Talley, Justice of Peace, Precinct 1, Place 1. I'm about to run out of breath here. I just wanted the commissioners to help me. I have one from Gibson L. Hathaway. Every time I see that, I wonder who that is, and we all know him as Hoot. You should read that for us. And then
Dear County Judge and Bowie County Commissioners Court, I was never informed until July 10th, 2014, what the Commissioner Court was going to do. There were many things you could have done besides cut 15% of the employees' wages. I think you should have asked people that work in the offices what we could do to lower spending. However, I am sure you would have said that you were afraid of the political outcome. I believe that the politics is what this is all about. We should care more about our employees and work it out for their sake. Furthermore, you may find that the political outcome of hurting the ones that get paid the least is going to be a lot worse for you all. Something is just not right with this whole situation. My office has always been under budget for 21 years now. There have been jobs created for people that were not even positions prior to now. The loyal, long-term employees of this county make less than some of the created positions already. Now it will be even less. Some of those positions could have been alleviated. I am writing this letter to you because I cannot attend the meeting on Monday because I will be in jail court and civil court. However, I feel I owe it to my employees and the people of Bowie County who elected me to serve them, to at least stand up for them. Kindest regards, Gibson Hoot Hathaway.
That's Precinct 1, Place 2, Justice of Peace. If we have department heads who would like to speak, would you come to the podium? And please speak, and use the microphone so everyone can hear it. I think they can just hold the mic. Please identify who you are, the department you head, and then have you say your piece.
I'm James Prince. I'm the sheriff here in Bowie County. Well, a lot I want to say, don't really know how to say it. A lot of people want to be angry and mad as to what's happening with salaries. A lot of people, and you all know it yourself. But also I want to tell you, I've said to my employees in the past, and I mean it with all my heart, this whole group right here, commissioners and judge, is the best that I've had the opportunity to work with since I've been sheriff. Okay? It's not their fault what's going on, I don't think. I think this is a long-going problem with our county's finances. Even in the past administrations, we had cuts where we did not get pay raises. I think the last 2 or 3 years, even before the judge took office, there was times where there was hiring freezes. If there was hiring freezes, was there a problem with finances? Why do we have a hiring freeze? I don't know. But I don't think it's these guys' fault. They got a tough job, and I'm sure glad I'm not sitting in their chair right now. But as a sheriff, I'm responsible for these guys back here in the back. Pay cuts is going to hurt the heck out of all of us, but it's more than just hurting the finances and the tables and the houses these guys and gals live in. They can go right down the road to Texarkana and get a lot better paying job than they can for Bowie County as a law enforcement officer. A rookie in the academy who's never been a police officer makes a lot more than my senior officers do. Something's wrong with that. Okay? We just lost one a few weeks ago to go work for New Boston, and he said it was for more money. Now, we cut these guys and gals' salaries. They're already getting low money. Are they going to keep working for Bowie County or are they going to quit? A bunch of them have told me they'll have to quit. Okay? So what I've looked at is I'm going to have to, in order to keep them cutting salaries, I'm going to have to let some employees go. With the budget I've got, that means 6 or 7 people. On the average, you see all these uniforms, but that's different divisions. On a normal day, on a normal shift, we have 4 deputies working this county at a time. It's not just the money. When they go to work, they don't know if they're going to come home to see their family again. There's been 2 officers killed in this county in the last 5 years. And you can put all kind of blame on it wherever you want. It don't matter. There's 2 officers dead that will not see their families again. They'll not see that person. So it hurts. If we start cutting the salaries, Who's gonna wanna come to work for us? People that nobody else will wanna hire. Is that who will want working for us, somebody that nobody else will hire? I don't think so. I don't think nobody wants that. All the jobs in the county are important. These are the ones that take care of your lives, take care of your property. Now I'm gonna say something that, I don't know if I even wanna say it, but it's been on my conscience and mind all weekend long. If God tells me to say something, I'm gonna say it, okay? Whether it's good or not. Because there, I can't not do it. Like I said, I like all five of you guys. In Washington, D.C. right now, what I think is wrong with our country is Republicans and Democrats not getting along. Instead of doing what's good for the people, doing what their party tells them to do. Before Judge Lacey took office, I got to witness a conversation that if he got elected, the county was going to get set back 50 years. Okay? And I ain't doing this for Judge Lacey or whatever. I ain't doing this for no political thing. I'm just telling you this is facts, okay? When I got elected, nearly everybody was Democrats. To the Tea Party won their votes last time, then a bunch of people changed Republican. But whatever it was, I was told way back when I started, when the election's over, the people that voted, now let's do what they hired the people to do, and everybody get along and work together. That has not happened in the last 4 years. I like you guys, but I've seen times where you just can't get along for whatever reason. And I think that hurts the county as a whole. I've seen motions put up and not be passed, and then, well, for an example, one time, Judge Lacey made a motion. It could not get a second. A commissioner made a motion. It looked like the other folks didn't want to go with that one either, and they went back with Judge Lacey's. We've got to get along for the good of the whole county and the people. I hope I ain't making no mighty bad. I probably am, but you know, I just got to say what I feel. Thank y'all.
Good morning. I'm Tony Barron, Tax Assessor Collector for Bowie County. After Friday's decision to cut employees' salary by 15%, I feel that I must express my feelings about this. You stated that the revenue for the county is mainly by two means, the property tax and the sales tax. The sales tax comes from my office. We collect, we get 5% of the sales tax from Bowie County. This year it was $634,513.72. Along with doing all the title work and the registration for more than 75 car dealers, credit unions, and banks. Earlier in April, when we discussed a budget cut, I talked to my employees about that there possibly could be a layoff. So the two that I had hired last were fortunate enough to find them a better job. So at the end of May, I lost 2 employees and did not replace them. And also, I had let my part-time employee go after February. So we were already working shorthanded when this took place in May because of the summer coming and the holidays and 4th of July. And with the loss of those employees, which was a $55,000 cut of my budget salary, I felt like I was happy and blessed that I didn't have to lay off someone. And then Friday, I'm told that the 15% was to start then. Now, I don't feel like that's fair, because I would not make a 15% cut straight across, because it wouldn't be fair of the girls that has been there for 20-something years and the employees that's only been there for 1 year. The one, of course, that's been there the longest has the most experience to get the worst cut. It's not right. And my girls have been, like I said, working short. They come in, some of them come in at 7 o'clock, we go to work at 8, some of them stay till 7 o'clock at night, we get off at 5. No extra money, no extra pay, no, you know, you can give comp time, but if you're already shorthanded, You know, so like one said before, you can't even take your comp time if you're, you know, can't get that worked in. Anyway, you know, I've had several complaints from the dealers, and you know, our dealers, that's where the sales tax come from. They're not, we've always, you know, been over backwards for our dealers, had the word come in, and sometimes, I'm talking about these dealers, they bring in 40 and 50 titles at a time. And I had 6 girls there and 6 in New Boston, which now I'm down to 5 girls in each office. The New Boston office, they take care of all the mail that comes in, and right now it's stacked up and we're behind. And they also have stayed late in the afternoons to catch up on the mail, because we have the phone calls with wondering, where's our renewal, where's our renewal? They also do the online renewal, and they do all the reports for the state, which are deadline reports. So, you know, that's why we have to stay late, because we have to get these reports in and the daily work done so we can mail the titles in to be able to get all this done. And, you know, with 2 more employees, because that's what I would have to lose, I don't hardly see how, you know, that we can continue like that. My constituents and yours, precinct 1 and 2 in Texarkana, and precinct 3 and 4 here at the courthouse. They, you know, they're calling, they're complaining, they don't like it because they have to stand and wait. And like I said about the dealers, they bring their stuff over expecting to be able to pick it up that afternoon, and sometimes it's days before they can pick it up. When you talk about cutting your budget as a whole, and this wouldn't be salaries, but I was over budgeted because of our debit card machine. And the budget was set for $16,000 at the end of April. It was already $26,000, so I was already over $10,000. Well, we have now, you know, decided on a different company for our debit machine, and Texarkana alone did $1 million on the debit machine, and New Boston did $500,000 last year, and so, or up to this part of our budget year. So that tells you everybody wants the debit card, and it's much easier, and it's not a hot check that you have to go out and collect. And you know, with that would be $26,000, so to say, that I wouldn't have on my budget next year. That would be a tremendous help. So, you know, again, I'm just here speaking, and I not do any good, but I just don't see how, you know, that our offices can wait on the public and take care of them. My girls work very hard with integrity. They're hard workers. They're very good employees. But it's terrible when you, just like Sheriff Prince said, you know, when you have to tell your girls they have to come and work very hard trying to get caught up that somebody's going to have to go. Thank you.
Tony, would you wait just a moment?
Yes.
For clarification to those who are not involved here recently in the court business, you all have gone to a system now on a debit card where the person using the debit card pays the fee rather than the county.
Right.
And if I understand correctly, what happened was, as we set the budget on what we thought our fees would be when we paid them, more and more people are using debit cards, and so it was out of our control to how much it went up more than what we budgeted this year. But it's good news that move that was recently made for both district court and county court will have those savings.
All offices, yeah.
All offices. Thank you very much.
My name is Harlan Jones. I'm the chief of juvenile probation in Bowie County. I've only been with juvenile for 2 years, but I've been with Bowie County for a total of 30 years. I said in special session last week, when y'all addressed this budget, that's in here again today. And I could be wrong, but it gives the outward appearance to me and a lot of people that I've talked to, this was not very well thought out, and perhaps ill conceived. Reasonable minds can disagree on voice fraction, absolutely. And I don't want to be too critical here, but I want you to take note, well, by taking up item 12, before you take up item 11, you kind of make anything we have to say a moot point. But this action is absolutely going to devastate the lives of a lot of employees, them and their families. They found themselves in the middle of this debacle through no fault of their own, yet they bear the brunt of the consequences. Commissioner Carter, Commissioner Blackburn, I've known y'all for better than 20 years. I know you be fair and reasonable people. I like to think all of our elected officials are fair and reasonable people. But I would ask you to at least give the department heads discretion, whether to cut salaries, whether to cut expenses, or a combination of both. Because to bring this down on the employees is absolutely going to kill them. I would ask you to reconsider that. Thank you.
Everybody knows who you are, but go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Billy Fox. I'm your district clerk. I'm a little bit confused. Back on March the 24th, we were told to cut our budget 10%, total budget. I cut mine 10%, and in that 10% was an employee. And now I'm told to cut 15% in salaries. It's kind of like I'm being double dipped here. Maybe it's just my confusion. Maybe I misunderstood the 10% because apparently that didn't go over very well. Not too many departments did that. I honored that, and now I'm being asked to do 15%. I would like you to reconsider that situation. Now, somebody else out here that's an office holder may have the same situation I'm into, and you may not, but please back up and look at that situation in my particular department. Thank you.
Commissioners, Judge. My name is Jack Pavis. I'm the Chief Adult Probation Officer. We're a little different when we're more state, so we're not affected by this that's going on now locally. I do have 3-4 employees that are. But first to speak to what we went through in the state in the 90s, similar to this, 2003 and 2009. One of the things that we were able to do in our department, we had fund balances and other streams of revenue that we were able to overcome and cut back to prevent losing employees and reducing salaries. So sometimes it's watching and managing your revenues and what's going on, and you can prevent a lot of things that happen. And look forward, way ahead, to the trends of things that are happening on our funding. I guess an advantage when you have 3 and 4 different revenue streams, you can adjust more, and usually one's stronger than the other. The PR bonds, county bonding program, which is a part of us, is the county. And in October 13, we cut 3 positions. We had 7, we already cut 3. And then again, in I believe the March, we cut more expenses and another $15,000 here in the workshop, just recently this summer. I guess we're going to run out of employees. Maybe, I don't know how we do that. We can cut down to 1 person maybe, or maybe kiosk did. I don't know. It does generate revenue. And we know our revenue has been cut 1/3 of what it used to be. So what I did there was as people left or unfilled positions, we didn't fill them again. So now we're down to, we have actually 4, and then I'll absorb 1 of those over to the adult probation side, which will help for that 15%, or way more than the 15%. But I don't know how many times that some of the departments have already proactively cut ahead of time, and now and cut again, and now they're going to have to cut again. We should have never cut our budget to begin with. and then the 15% would be easy to attain. So sometimes when you just make that statement, the 15%, you need to look at what has been done and try to make it the most fair, which I believe that's what you're trying to do to everyone. But it's a lot too, and government budgeting is a lot different than private sector, I understand. A lot of people don't. You have to really look at the 2-year cycles and trends. So that's all my words of wisdom today.
Thank you. That's a brief. Other department heads? Go ahead,
I'm
yes.
speaking as department head.
Yes.
My name's Tina Petty, and I'm the county clerk. Since 2011, the county clerk's budget has been cut before I even got into office. Last year, when we did the budget, the commissioners asked for us to look for any ways to decrease our budget. I did that. But then I noticed other budgets were increased by the amount that I decreased my budget. When y'all came back and asked us to look for 10% cut, the only thing I had left to cut was payroll. So I didn't have much of a cut. It's not fair to the employees. They don't make a lot of money, and we're going to take money out of their pockets that they pay for gas and food. And I know that we're in a desperate situation. We need to do things, but it should have never gotten to this point. And people are tired of the blame game. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. Y'all have a job to do, work together, and get it corrected.
And as a department head of county court, I've been working on my budget since the 2010-11 budget. And the proposed budget I made in 2014 for this year, that's a 16% budget reduction in salaries that my office has achieved over the last 3 years. What the action the court does is it does not take into consideration departments that have already made some significant cuts just recently in March or over the last several years in an effort to trim the budget down so there was no fat in the budget, so to speak. And my budget was reduced another $18,000, $15,000 out of $35,000 at the start of this budget year by the commissioners from the proposed budget, last year's budget. And then in March, enough more was taken out of my budget that there was no money left to run the department on for the rest of the year. And so there's in an effort to seem even and consistent on all departments, there's an unfairness and inconsistency is taking place. And those departments that have been working really hard to trim their budgets down the last few years are being penalized the most. Did we have any other department heads who want to speak, including our commissioners?
Judge, could I ask one question? How did we come up with the 15%? What figure formulated that?
That was based on a $2 million total reduction for the county.
Okay.
Could I speak?
Yes. Get that right.
I guess I'm the newest one sitting up here. I took over by default about 3 or 4 months ago. Precinct 4 last year sold 4 motor graders to the tune of close to $900,000, close maybe $1 million, to help the county budget try to make it through year end. Well, there's over 300 miles of dirt roads in Precinct 4. So even though those were sold, had to buy new ones. Well, that added $600,000 to my budget this year in capital expenditures. But the problem, along about March before I got here, there was another $73,000, somewhere thereabouts, around $70,000, cut out of Precinct 4's budget from the expense side of it. not salaries, just from the expense side of it. We had to buy those 3 motor graders, but also at the first of the year, the expense just for the gas, oil, and materials was cut $272,000. So they spent more on road graders, but they cut the gas, oil, and materials budget. So, you know, I got 3 new motor graders, but we ran out of gas last week and had to borrow money from precinct 3 to make it the next 2.5 months. So everyone here has taken some pretty severe cuts and done some things that aren't popular. I promise you, I didn't want to vote for this reduction, but I'm seriously hoping that it's only for another 2 months and that we can somehow find in the new budget revenues and expense cuts to where we don't penalize the county employees for things they had no control over. If we can get through this year, I know my budget next year is going to be greatly reduced because hopefully I'm not going to have to buy any more road graders because we'll have monthly payments on the ones that were purchased. But I'm hoping maybe that with the reductions in our expenses and some of the other things that maybe we can not cut so much in salaries or not cut any at all. The budget is still being put together right now. We really don't know until all the figures are put together. So at this point, I'm saying let's don't panic. Let's look at the budget and see what we have to do. We'll do what we have to do to get this county back in the black again, whether it's popular or not. But let's don't make any rash decisions right now. Let's look at the numbers, and then let's go from there.
No, this is the time for department heads. He's a department head, sir. For the comfort of our guests, we're obviously not going to finish our court session this morning. So here in about 25 minutes, we'll be recessing until the afternoon. If anybody needs to take a little break, there's a door at the back over there that lets you out in the hallway where you can come back around where the restrooms are or the elevator. I should have announced that to you at the start of this marathon session today. Any other department heads? That door's locked? Would you see that gets unlocked? Thank you. We'll get it unlocked.
Yeah, I'd like to say something, Judge. Good morning. My name is Jerry Rochelle. I'm the elected criminal district attorney here in Bowie County, Texas. So I would just like to take this opportunity to remind everybody, yes, we are on the same team. Yes, we are one big happy family, not real happy right now. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my office who has acted proactively instead of reactively since 2011 in trying to reduce our budgets, trying to cut expenses, trying to do more with less, and like I say, they need to be commended. I know that the Bowie County Criminal District Attorney's Office, we're working with larger numbers of crimes in Bowie County, unfortunately, and with fewer attorneys, fewer staff, less money, and I don't know what else we can do. Like I say, we have been cutting, as Mr. Jones said, as Ms. Fox said, as everyone up here so far has said. And I understand we're all on the same page, but when we continue to cut, I mean, where do those cuts stop? My people are working around the clock. Like I say, we're understaffed, we're undermanned, and nobody in my office complains. We're under budget. So what I'd like to know is why the people who come in under budget, I work diligently with Mr. Ty to ensure that we're under budget every year. And it seems like the more we sacrifice, the more the rest of the county, or maybe not the rest of the county, but some departments in the county seem to want to take. And I refuse to let my office and the other offices sit idly by and have to make those sacrifices without at least getting the recognition for it.
Still on agenda item number 11. Consider to take action on the request for department heads to address additional budget cuts in their respective departments. Have we heard from all the department heads that want to speak? I know of no action for us to take on this morning. You'll have to come back to a future court session to take action on that.
Judge, can I make one statement before we move on?
Yes.
We continue to talk about budget reductions. Let me give you an example. In precinct 1, my 2013-2014 budget was $611,593. When we went through our budget cuts in early part of this year, I reduced my budget down to $564,593. We had a lot of roads that we did not repair because of that. And this year, my budget again will be reduced by another $28,000 plus. So the people in my precinct will not be getting new overlaid roads. They'll be getting potholes filled, and good Lord willing, in the next week or two, next year or two, we can change that. But, and I understand the other departments talking about, you can't cut me anymore, you can't cut me anymore. When I looked at this year's budget, I looked at items that I could work off of on a slim to none basis. And that's what my budget came down to. So you talk about, I'm cutting $28,000 plus out of my budget next year. So, and to answer a question, yes, I lost an employee. I don't like to lose an employee. I got 4 guys doing what 6 should be doing right now. But are we going to do it? Yes, because I believe in cross-training. Every one of my employees know how to run every piece of equipment I've got in my lot. And when one is on vacation, the other 3 step up and do it. Thank you.
As we prepare to move on from agenda item number 11, later in one of our agenda items, I think it's going to come up in agenda item 20, if you're able to come back this afternoon for that. We're going to look at the possibility that there are other ways to fulfill the budget for the end of this year without this 15% department employee cut that's already been authorized. And we have now until August 15th, actually, the first payroll under the new motion has been passed to find alternate ways to take care of that. Have you been able to come up with a figure of exactly how much savings that was? The 15% of department employees only? We were at 366,000 the other day, but
It was
we included the elected.
based on the new printout, removing the elected officials. The total for an annual 12-month was $1,129,637.
But we're not doing annual, we're doing 2 months, August and September.
Well, I've got 2.5 months, which I consider from July 15th forward, and that would be $235,000 savings.
235,000.
235,000.
If it were 5 pay periods,
Pardon me?
if it were 5 pay periods, it's 235,
Yes.
and we're doing 4. So we're looking at less than $200,000 that we're saving in this year's budget by having a 15% salary reduction for our department employees. We'll see if we can't find that $200,000 somewhere else before we get down to August.